Oh, my bad, guys. I've been talking this entire time and I forgot I had my mic muted. I'm sorry, I've been talking to people this entire time. That is so stupid, dude. My bad, y'all. What's going on, Gen MX? What's going on, Mad Scientist? I'm building a UI layout. Justin, you tried to get me with a semicolon, but guess what? I caught on to your games, Justin, so I'm not going to fall for that again. And, Randbell's going on, Randbell. Melon, one day you'll come back to the Discord. We miss having you here, dude. I was going to deprecate it. No wonder, so quiet, no worries happens. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty, I'm just like so... I had like this nice little intro in the beginning, talking about what's going on, talking about how I cleaned up my keyboard this weekend, and it's nice and lubed up, and sanitized and everything, because, you know, why not be thorough? I'm so mad, dude. This entire time I've been yapping away, and no one's heard. Anyways, we're building some more UI today. We're building some UI stuff, and I'm debugging some stuff. And right now we have some, we have this little system where we have a fixed amount of energy, and you can customize your vehicle here before you go into the main game, but right now we're trying to track down this energy that's happening, and it's still happening, which is weird, because of what's happening here. Usually it's a different exception for assertions, but I guess they're just going to use the NRE exception. Oh well. So how do you join the Discord? I think the Discord link should work, and if not, I need to repair it, but I'm pretty sure it should work. Yeah, it's a real monitor, a laser, complete with green mode. You can turn it on and off. So it's a good monitor. I like it a lot. I would like to use it, but here's the thing, right? If I start doing like errors and bad things are happening, you can't tell in green mode. So on the one hand, green mode is great for contrast, and it makes all your errors go away. The bad thing is that the errors are actually still there. So I can't live in green mode land. Found the stream. Thank you, Rolo. We're glad to have you, man. So the error is this: current selected is still null, even though I have very much told it that it should not be null. And then we're assigning it with value 0. Oh, we're doing a failed assertion for current selected. Wait a second. This is redundant because we were doing this. We're assigning it to holes 0. So what's going on here? Is the registry null? I doubt it, because we wouldn't be able to do this dereference here. So why is it being weird? Is it a lifecycle thing? No, because by the time we call this stuff, it should be known. We're doing this, yeah, within the building of the backend, so I don't know. Also, I think someone joined the Discord, and what's going on here? Yeah, what's going on, Dark Bunny? Glad to have you. I thought you aren't talking because you're streaming for those who wants to watch code videos before sleep. No, I'm not. I'm too much of a yapper, sadly. Maybe one day I'll do that, but what can I say, man? I like talking a lot. How's the experience for your eyes for long duration of screen time? I'm very interested in using CRT monitor for my daily work. It's good. The CRT is not the issue. The issue is like where your focal point of focus is for the majority of the time, right? So if you always focus on things near to you, then you're gonna naturally develop nearsightedness. This CRT doesn't really strain it or make it worse or better. So it's been good. I've been using it for like a year now, and my eyes are pretty much still fine. Okay, we're diagnosing bugs. Things are going wrong. We're not happy. So far, this is failing here because hull state is somehow current selected is null. That should not be happening. This is happening later in the life cycle, so that should not be the case. Here we have an init function for current selected where we assign it the first element in this registry. This element should not be null. And in fact, we also have an assertion here to say, yes, this is not null. So either something's overriding this with a null value, or the laws of this universe are broken and incorrect and wrong and twisted, and I just do not understand where this corruption's happening. I doubt I've encountered that second case, but you can never be too sure. Okay, we have try equipping. So maybe that might, no, because this is called on a UI callback event. On action, and we're not performing on action, are we? Yeah, we have action button, we have on action. For the arrows, it's just performing on left, on right, and on left. This is doing the wrapping thing and updating visuals. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be causing problems, unless update visuals is somehow mutating it. But I doubt it. Yeah. Everything is pretty much straightforward. So we're back to where we left off at, which is on action being potentially a problem, but I highly doubt it. Theme is called, I'm using Grovebox. I don't use VS Studio or Code. I'm using Writer. So they probably have the same theme available. But if there's differences, that might be it. Because I realized I had a migraine a lot using it. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, I'm using C# on Linux. That's what I'm using today. Also, we don't need this data information anymore. Okay. Also, we don't need this ehull state. And we don't need system link. We're not using that anymore. So, not update visuals. This is happening on get hull index. We're trying to find what index this hull is in, which is why we're iterating through the entire count and doing this comparison for hulls I equals to hulls. Yeah, okay. So I could do the whole thing that we initially started implementing, which is just, instead of this, we can just do the null comparison and do the direct assignment. This is called when? Update visuals. Get hull index. Oh. We're also using the wrong thing. This is incorrect. Let's be more specific. Maybe not. Because we shouldn't even be using, Okay, let's get specific in our language. 1 second. Then it should be just a general. Actually, what am I doing? It's going to be essentially the same language as this, except the thing we're comparing against is going to be... But no, we have... Oh my goodness. This should be used only once, not here. This should be used with our internal... In fact, we should have, do we not have an index? Yes, we do, current index. And we should do, because we're going to start off with what you have equipped initially, and then you can modify stuff. So down here, you shouldn't even be using this at all. In fact, we should just be using current index for all these interactions, which I believe should be correct. What are you doing? Would you like to play a game? Are you Saw? If so, I would not like to play a game. I would like to finish making a game. That'd be pretty cool. And I am currently playing through Psychonauts 2. But honestly, dude, I like Psychonauts 1 more. And again, that's happening. Is there a race condition? Because this is being called... No, but then that wouldn't work. That wouldn't have still caused the issues that we were encountering. So no. So how is our registry like... That's strange, but that would make sense. Honestly, I almost want to change this to be like a more robust property. No. Alright, what's going on here? Why are you trying to make me think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. Oh, this has to be backed by a value, doesn't it? A private static. I don't want to do that. Because at that point, you might as well just have like a, or just promote this to a function, I guess, or something. Or demote it to a function. I don't know. Any tips? Use monkey type, dude. Grinding monkey type is great for like getting better at typing properly on the keyboard and like learning to use home row. Actually, no. Monkey type is fun for like testing where you're at, but using keyboard is actually where I actually started getting much better at like using my home row and all that stuff, because it tracks like where you're at. So like if I were to make a new, let's do a new private window first. Keyboard. That way I can start from scratch. So it's gonna start with like testing a few. Come on. There we go. Oh my goodness, why is everything blacking out? Freaking me out. Can we not? Why are you doing this? What is this? Is it an ad? Who did this to me? Okay, whatever. You start typing with like a smaller set of letters and you can see where your weaknesses are and it'll drill you on it. And then it'll start expanding the letters that you use for typing to assess like where you are with them. And the ones that you're good with, it'll skip. But the ones where you struggle with, it'll start drilling it more and more. And it like has more statistics about it too, which is pretty nice. So like I went most of my life, I didn't type properly. I just had this weird, deranged, you know, caveman like typing. Like there's some things I learned to type fast, but I was just in general like not at all. Like I couldn't type anything in general fast. And I still struggle like right now, right? But when I got this keyboard, I kind of had this commitment to like, all right, we're gonna actually learn how to type properly. And so I grinded this for a while, and a bunch of other things like this too, just to get suitable, or at least a little bit better. But yeah, I found this to be very beneficial. Helps point out your weaknesses and makes it easy for you to tackle it. So I can grind this for like a long while. And then Vim also helps with fast navigation. Welcome back, Melon. Hi, I need a co-system in my project. Can you help me and share revenue? Nope, not going to do that. I can give some general advice, or if you're having a particular technical thing, dude. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. I already have a day job doing development, and I just want to get my own personal games done already. Okay. So, back to here. Yeah, I'm having this weird, odd thing. So either a init's not being called when I want it to, ooh. Oh, no, that's the general file config. No, that's not what I needed. Where do we do the building of the back end? Here we go. Maybe I should just keep this until after on awake. I mean, it's all going to happen within the single function cycle, so it should be fine, but also, no, I think there's a reason why I wanted to have it happen early, because there's other things that, I don't think anything else requires that, actually. This is so strange. Okay, no. Oh, because this is not a Unity game object, so I have to actually call debug log explicitly. So we have to do okay. Yeah, I'm using Grubbox. Good catch, Eric. Okay. Okay. Just make sure it's actually compiled. Man, I love seltzer water. So we're still getting a thing here. strange. We have to, I think we have to just listen to every single change that happens here. Because here we asserted that this current selected is not null, and yet down here, it's showing to be null. So the only thing that could be possibly happening is that the value is being reassigned at some point on runtime to a null value. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So what I'm going to do is probably something I kind of didn't want to do, but I'm probably going to revert it back. Could we please do the thing I wanted? Thank you. Sometimes I hate using an IDE because it tries to be helpful, but it's actually not. It's actually quite annoying. I guess if I'm actually doing proper syntax, it'd be much more helpful. Okay, so what do we do? So private set. Nope, wrong code base. And what value? The thing I don't like is that we have to back this up with like a private internal value. Can you simplify it to just arrow operator? Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. So now we should see where the assignments are happening. Okay. And hopefully this gets us closer to our culprit. Happy midnight. Hey! What's going on, dude? Left hands of horror. Left hand of horror. Hopefully you're doing well, man. Do you think only in syntax and logic of the code, or also care for the way each part of the code will be saved in memory, like embedded? Well, what do you mean exactly? Do you think only in syntax and logic of the code, or also the care each part of the code will be saved in memory, like embedded? So there's low-level things that are a concern. It's not just about how they're saved in memory, but how they're laid out. And like there's some problems. So actually, we can talk about this, but there's like an issue we're dealing with where like a lot of people are used to languages that just heap allocate everything, and in C#, that's the same way. If you don't know, we're going to talk about memory a little bit today, guys. Like that's what we're going to do. Be 500, whatever. But you have your RAM, right? We're going to use a great value. So you got your RAM. Okay, that's a little too large. Let's change it to like 32. You got a dedicated WAM. Still a little too large, honestly. There we go. RAM. Okay, you can barely even tell what that is. Is there anything better? Okay, we'll just do like 12 or something. Hopefully that's better. You have your dedicated RAM, right? And you have your CPU over here too. CPU. And usually when your computer is executing code, like your CPU is going to be getting information from RAM at some point, right? So like in C#, you know, objects are stored somewhere in RAM. So you might have an object here or object here or whatever, right? And in other languages like JavaScript, everything is just heap allocated. So actually there's like different parts of your computer, of your RAM. There's like stack memory. And it's faster to access stack memory, but it also requires that everything, all the sizes are fixed and known. And what I refer to the heap is another part of RAM. And this guy is great for storing arbitrary amounts of memory. So it's usually larger, and memory can be just laid out anywhere. So when I'm talking about RAM, right now just know that I'm referring to the heap. So usually like this is fine. I say fine quotation marks, like it's fine that everything lives in the heap, right? And programs just pay the cost of like grabbing it and loading it up here. But sometimes, you know, there's actually a big performance loss from having to have your CPU actually go out to main memory, find where it is in heap, and then grab this block and bring it into your CPU so you can do work on it, right? So there's things called caches that exist, and it's like little bits of memory that are really close to your CPU, or actually on it, so that instead of having to go all the way over here, you can just access the memory directly here. And there's different sizes of it. There's like L1 cache, there's L2 cache, and L3 and whatnot, and they get bigger, but they also get further away. And there's some times where you actually don't want to have things live super separated out. You want to have things be contiguous. And sometimes you want to have it where it's actually very easy for that memory to just live in the cache, so that when you load it once, sure, it's slow the first time, but then subsequent loads, it's living here. So your CPU doesn't have to go all the way to heap. It can stay close to home, right? Within your kitchen. And there's problems we actually encountered with that. We implement this kind of big culling system, this big like level generation thing and this culling thing, and it was actually taking quite a significant amount of time to compute that. And by actually thinking about considering these factors, produce a way faster speed up. And in fact, I actually have the performance data of it, which is it was kind of fun going through that. We streamed that, so you can find it somewhere. Yeah, perf data. Vim. Yeah, edit anyways. So yeah, so you can see like in the original implementation, which was like very much just throwing stuff into the heap and not caring about it, was taking like 12 milliseconds, which is quite a lot for this machine. And on a mobile device, it's even more unacceptable. And as we go through different strategies of like making memory not split apart. So one strategy is like making memory, instead of being broken up into big pieces, separate different pieces like this, instead you have them be contiguous into one part. There's benefits from having your memory be contiguous. Like this, let's say, right? Like maybe this went here and this went there or something. I don't know. You get the idea. And you see the different speedups that occurred from that. But then there's things too of just organizing it so that it could be very cache friendly, so that it can live in the cache, and then if the cache is if it can't like live fully in there, that at least it's like aligned on like the cache boundary lines. It makes easy fetching sequentially. So yeah, this is pretty I mean, it's something that's often neglected, and a lot of people don't think about it. And sometimes it's fine, but when you start encountering some performance problems, it's important to start thinking about these considerations. And then if you need to go like a level further, then you can start thinking about like SIMD and AVX intrinsics and whatnot, and trying to vectorize stuff if you need to. And if you really want to go to like the next level, it's like starting to think about cache associativity and thinking of how you're iterating through strides, or like whatchamacallit. There's a term for it. But yeah, like there's times where you do think about things at that level, and it's important. It actually has some real tangible benefits. What's going on, Zeno? Glad to see you here, man. I'm using Ubuntu right now. Yeah, I'm making a game. LT Stains. I'm just taking a little side break to just talk about this stuff. The power cost of CPU, RAM, CPU is 2,000 times what it costs to process or store information. Things I learned doing research on AI. Interesting. This is basics. You would think, but you'd be surprised how many people are not aware of this stuff or how to even. Honestly, I've gone a long time without like getting into the weeds of actually not only learning about it but also applying it. And I'm pretty sure that there's quite a number of people out there who are not aware of that. But yeah. So that's your answer to your question, Mohammed. Please, because I'm using AI coding, but a lot of issues. Yeah, that's the issue. Social VAR. The only thing I can tell you is to actually like learn how to program and actually do things. Like actually cultivate the skill set, right? Or else like you're gonna be without any control in this AI generated code base, and you're not going to really have agency to address any of the issues that happen from relying on another entity to deal with that. Right. I compiled the thing. We're going to figure out where the issue is coming from. I did try Godot. I actually ported my dev kit to it, but it's not, I don't quite like it as much. I think it's quite good and it's going to get better and better, but I think if I switch from Unity, it's probably going to be to my own thing. Okay. So let's see here. We have the registration of these things. This is happening here. Okay. So we found where the assignment's happening. There is an initial null assignment. Holds. Okay. New value default hull. What? So we do the is not null here for current selected, and it passes even though it actually is? No, that's not null. This is actually a real instance. An assignment doesn't have it. Wait a second. Is this ever overassigned? Or overridden? No, because you reference here. Okay. And we do... Oh! We don't register it, that's why. We register a new instance, and that's what's causing the issue, because there's two instances of this instead of one. So one is in the correct state, the other isn't, and that's why we're getting this NRE, because there's a divergence. I understand now. Okay. But now that should be fixed, and we should be good to go there. I'm using Ubuntu. Have you ever tried? Yeah, yep. Yeah, I mean that's how you keep your tool sharp, your knowledge sharp, and how you get better at it, right? I think there's a cognitive atrophy that happens when you rely on external tools like that. SQL in school, I gave up on my programming life. Is it because of SQL or just in general? Because of school. What's going on, K9? Do you have on your keyboard? I like the sound. I use KT Strawberries, and I just lubed them up this weekend. Took all the switches out, applied some Glube, dusted everything, sanitized, got rid of all the hair and crumbs in the keyboard. It's crazy. I don't feel like I eat over the keyboard, and yet there's still like food crumbs in there. I don't understand it. Okay. SQL is tough. Yeah, SQL is also just different. Like, it's not programming in the way you think. Like, people can do like programming things there, but this is still happening. What's going on? But yeah, it's a very different thing. So if your enjoyment of programming just kind of dived because of SQL, you might want to try something like different than that, like making games, or honestly like anything else, dude. SQL is very different than normal programming. Okay, I'm not seeing errors be emitted from that, but there is still presence of errors. And it's still this. And it's still Hall states. And we're doing... Oh, we never actually get Hall states, do we? Is this ever assigned in here? It's referenced quite a number of times, but I don't think we actually assign it, which is a simple thing to fix. Nope. States. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. I tried a basic programming website where it's a series of tutorials. I'm just like, but it's cool to see. Honestly, LimD, because like people get stuck into tutorial hell and it's like terrible. The best thing I could tell you is have a goal like for what you want to make. Like, don't think about, oh, my goal is to make money. I want to get a 6-figure salary. You know, like, don't start with that. Don't start with, I'm going to make a startup. I mean, if you want to, right? But think about like goals of, hey, I want to make this game. This is the idea I have. I want to make this video game. I want to just make it a reality. And then if you have that goal, you're going to start taking tutorials, not just for the sake of tutorials, but as stepping stones to achieve what you want to do. So if you want to make like a game, you're going to start with, okay, what tool should I use to make a game? And maybe you'll choose an engine. And that's, all right, cool. You got your engine. All right, how do you render an object on the engine? How do you render like a sprite or pick texture or something? And you figure that out. How do you take an input and make the object move? Well, you watch another tutorial and you get that bit, and now you have movement. And all of a sudden, now you're not just doing tutorials for the sake of tutorials. You're taking tutorials or reading dev blogs or whatever as stepping stones towards the goal you have in mind. And if you don't get to your goal, because, you know, it turns out your project is like crumbling because, you know, it's not engineered in a way to sustain whatever your goal is, fine. Let the project die. I have a graveyard of like hundreds of game projects that I've spent like at least 2 weeks working on, if not way more than that. And that's how you learn. So, hey, and it's working. Cool. But yeah, so I would approach it that way. So think about what excites you. What's a cool thing? For me, it's video games. For you, maybe you want to build like a crazy, I don't know, some kind of website that lets you play poker with animals across the world. I don't know. You want to play video poker with like a poodle in Japan or something. All right, you're gonna start consuming tutorials in order to set up that infrastructure. Snafu, Unity, Unreal, etc. are not easy. They're super over-engineered, but can be good if you fix the engine to what you exact. Yeah, I feel the same way, Snafu. That's why I don't want to migrate from like Unity to Godot. I honestly just want to make my own thing. I've done other projects before, and I'd rather make a tool that's suited not only for me, but for the specific game I'm making, and not have all this extra stuff going on. It's crazy. Like all this crazy engineering, a lot of it, most people don't need it for their games, and yet they're paying a performance cost for said engineering. Like, you know, and then it becomes unwieldy as well. You feel far less in control of the thing you're making, and so much more tied up and reliant on like XY company who owns it. Or even like, you know, like in the case of Godot, it's open source, you can see everything, but you know, it's large, there's a lot going on there, it's a cognitive price to pay, and it's still like a general purpose engine meant to try to allow you to do anything, but it's also not specialized for anything, if that makes sense, or for everything. That's a better way of describing it. Meant for everything, but not specialized to everything. And there's just something fun about rolling your own thing, but we'll get there. I need to finish the game first. But I'll never convince anyone. I disagree. Well, what exactly? Strophim. Don't just follow them blindly. Experiment with inputs, values. Oh, 100% JCap. 100%. Make a social network sort of like MySpace, but it's like, that is obsolete. What do you mean, obsolete? Nah, dude, just do it, dude. Play a lot of Fortnite. Gaming is fascinating. There's generally a small army working on it nonstop. When I first got in Unreal, it was an ocean. I couldn't even figure out where to start, and have been programming for 20 years. Yeah, it's gnarly, dude. It's gnarly. Heck, even trying to like, cause Unreal has support for like HLSL, but it's also like a pain to do that. So you're just kind of like funneled into using the material node graph system, and it's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. And it doesn't let you like compose complex, I mean, you can do it, right? But it's not the same. And it's not as easy to deal with compared to just working within like HLSL shader code. And like I said, like you're paying like a cost for technical costs that may not even be relevant to you, right? Like you might be doing like a 2D game, right, or 2.5D game where like there's a small area of like where there's like not many light sources yet, or not many light sources in general, and yet you're still paying the cost for having deferred rendering, which is meant to deal and combat like many light sources, and by extension, you know, you're also not going to have access to like certain types of anti-aliasing because, you know, deferred rendering, you're dealing with gbuffer data, right? And that's like a technical decision that's baked into it, and now everything you make is going to be subject to it. And if you're not utilizing it, then you're paying a cost and not getting much benefit for it. I tried learning OpenGL, and my goodness, drawing a simple triangle is crazy. So many of these engines abstract those things that allows you to focus on creating the game. That is true. The graphics pipeline stuff is like, not pipeline, but just great graphics APIs is terrible. And I wish there's like a simple, just nice, easy API to deal with, to just like display things. But I mean, it is what it is. There's some things that are just kind of non-negotiable, but you know, it's still not great. And that's OpenGL as well. Like you're not dealing with Vulkan. I'm pretty sure like WebGL, WebGPU is coming out as well, and I'm seeing some things where it's kind of a nice blend. It's a bit more verbose than OpenGL, but it still provides you a lot of affordances that Vulkan has. And I'm kind of mad they called it Web GPU, because it's not even like it's gonna be used for web, but it's meant to be a general purpose like graphics API. So I don't know what's the deal. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, what am I doing? I was doing something, wasn't I? Seeing exactly the same now. What type of games are you making? Yeah, that's a whole like the issue with like samey feeling games too. That's part of like even with this, we talked about this a long time ago. But like even for this game, I'm not using like Unity's rendering pipeline or at least lighting pipeline. You have our own thing for that, so that hey, the visuals look different. It doesn't look like a normal game that's using the same surface properties and whatnot. Okay, this is working, but we're getting an error here. It's like functioning, but I don't, that's not right. This should not be happening. Oh, is this null? Did we assign? That's just an unassigned thing. That's actually an easy problem to fix. That actually is reassuring. Yeah, we just don't have a name thing, which we do now, so that's fine. Description. Okay, save. And now we should not have, we need to implement this too. Let me also go into, was it home? Byte config. Yeah, we have the buddy stuff there, but that's not the right place to have it, honestly. But I guess is like the most apt place I can find for it. So I guess I'll create a new folder and call it buddies. But yeah, and then there's also like things like just size. Like you cannot make a web build for Unreal. You can, so Unreal doesn't have support for it, but you can coerce it. Like people have like plugins to force it to compile to web, but it's gonna be chunky, buddy. I don't know. I'm kind of a I'm sorry. I'm kind of, I need to stop being such a, because I don't want to yuck people's yums, right? This is my feelings about it, and if you use these tools, I'm not a dog on you, and you can make amazing stuff in there, dude. I'm just talking about for me and for my goals that this, it makes more sense, at least for me, as far as enjoyment of working on this stuff, to like pivot like that. Hulls, buddy. Okay, cool, and we have to create resources. And we're also going to create a new, it's going to be a simple script, but we need to have it. We're not going to do the multiple inheritance thing. I'm not going to try to do that. We're just going to buddy registry. Simple. Need us to really rally and start making propaganda that makes people want to become 3D model designers for us. I struggle in Lego Fortnite. What's Lego Fortnite? I've never heard of this. Side project at the moment? It's the main project. It's something we started long ago, and we're just trying to hobble it over the finish line. Oh right, I can't do constructors here. Okay, cool. Okay, file name. Right. Named it wrong. And menu. Okay. Maybe I'll do this to be a little bit more readable. And that's all that's kind of really required, I think. Yeah, I think that's all that's really needed. Alright, let me catch up. Oh, horizontal, what's going on here? I disagree, but I'll never convince anyone. Artists have more control by breeding the horses to get the specific consistency of hair for their bespoke, purpose-made, specific brushes. But how prohibitive is that to actually painting? Well, okay, you're using a metaphor. Okay, let me understand this. Artists have more control by breeding the horses to get specific consistencies of hair for their bespoke, purpose-made, specific brushes. So you're saying like artists, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. But how prohibitive is that to actually painting? On the other hand, people can just learn how to leverage the tools they have available to them. I mean, there's a marginal benefit, right? That's a factor that you consider, the marginal benefit for what you're doing. And for every person, their goal, there is a cost calculation that comes to that, right? So I can understand. In fact, that's kind of what's meant to be done by these general purpose engines, right? They're meant to be like, hey, for a lower marginal cost, you can pay the piper for adopting and understanding this engine and working around its confines, and you can build the things you want to build, right? And there's other costs that are going to be accrued that we mentioned, like, you know, the fact that it's not designed specifically for what you're making, and for, you know, technical decisions made about the underlying engine architecture that may or may not be relevant for the type of game you're working on. But that's just the cost you're going to make, right? And for some people it makes sense, and that's like the reason why these things popped off, right? So I'm not dogging on that. I guess what I'm pointing out, for me at least, is that I see the ROI, the return on investment for just doing my own thing, to be higher. Not just in terms of like the product, but the thing I'm considering is like the workflow. For other people, that would be prohibitively too expensive. And that makes sense, right? But I feel like in my case, it's going to be much more of a benefit. Do you recommend Python or C# for Godot? I prefer C#. I started Godot recently, but I'm not sure which to use. I'd recommend C# because it actually has typing. So if you try calling a function like... So this is what I kind of mean by static typing. There's some IDEs that are much more stronger for Python that can kind of prevent these things, but like a very simple thing is that I can have public class A, and I can have public class B, and then I can have like within a function here do thing, and right now, if I were to call it b dot, let's say, let's just do this. So if I had an instance of A and B, I can call, let me do this. How am I going to do this example? I think this is fine. Actually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Anyways, so we have an instance of this class over here. And if I tried calling like a function on it, like, I don't know, do something. Well, this is wrong, right? Because public class A has no functions defined in it. So I can't access this thing. It's not going to even let me compile that. That's nice. However, in languages that don't have this kind of typing, this statically enforced typing, that prevents you from like calling functions that don't exist or accessing variables that don't exist, if I try accessing name, that's going to be wrong. They don't have that kind of protection. So if I call this a dynamic instead, because C# has a mode that lets you pretend like you're working in it pretends like you're in whatchamacallit, JavaScript or something. You can just kind of access stuff and be like, hey dude, I want string. I think I'm using a compiler. Also you have to use that. Yeah, so this wouldn't work for me because I'm using IL2CPP, but if you're just using the normal JIT compiler, like this is totally valid syntax. And languages that don't have static typing, I can just, hey, I want to assign the name from A to B, or whatever. Or I want to call this function, and there's no red lines, there's no error telling me, hey, you can't do that, dude. And it's very easy for a bunch of different errors to kind of accrue like that. Some of them are very quick to catch. There's more weird, odd things that can accrue that are harder to catch. But yeah, when you use non-statically typed languages like Python or JavaScript, you open the door for like these type of bugs to emerge. Whereas in a statically typed language like C# or whatnot, these class of bugs just do not happen. They fundamentally do not happen, and you're informed of them, and you can't even compile the program until you fix these issues. So I highly recommend using statically typed languages. I know it's very fun, and it's very easy to just like, hey, I'm just going to call this thing, I don't have to care about this stuff, but in the long run, I prefer typed languages are going to save you from so many headaches, okay? Oh man. Pure virtual class abstract. Oh, you're right, Kyle. Yeah, you're right, dude. How dare I use like class A? We need to do like class abstract A with a generic type B, so we can have like a factory, and B is actually gonna be a generic of C. I guess I can't just do that. I have to actually define a type for B that takes into generic or whatever. Have a turducken of like abstract inheritance. Right, there we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with gasoline. That's some... Can you not do that? You can't you could totally do this. Don't do this to me. Can you not actually just do nested? You could nested generic. I'm just doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. There's a way to do it. I'm just wrong. That's not gonna change anything. Whatever. I guess this is baked into there. You broke my... Okay, you know what? Whatever. Let's do this. D. There you go. Are you happy now? Whatever. Where C is... Yep. A, B. Yep. Shofim. Yep. Don't forget CRTP. The lower the language is, the better. It's for your soul. Break out, dude. What's your favorite snack or food? I love Japanese style peanuts. They're so good. Super crunchy, super loud, tastes fantastic. It's all about trade-off. Yeah, JCap. Dude, honestly, the more you get into like programming and all this kind of stuff, the more you start becoming less of like worrying about code and much more kind of an economist, and like, what is the benefit? What's the cost and trade-off that's happening here? Is it worth doing this optimization? Does there need to be an optimization? If so, how are we going to do with that? Or, like, I think we talked about this before, but it's like this trade-off between like memory and then like computation, and then like human maintainability, right? So like I mean like the reason there's so much high memory cost for like even simple applications nowadays is because we want to make things easy, right? You don't want people worrying about memory and stuff, so you deal with like garbage collected languages and whatnot, which promotes like having, you know, things just chucked onto the heap and whatnot. So it's a benefit for, I guess, human usage, but then it also comes at a cost for like memory, right? And there's times where you're making cost comparison between like memory and computation. You know, should you compute these values every single time, or is it better to compute them once and store them in memory so you don't have to compute them again? Sometimes it's worth doing that, sometimes it's not. And then there's also the trade-off here between human comprehensibility and computation, right? So like, you know, you could write AVX intrinsics, you know, vectorize data like crazy, you know, and deal with direct memory management, but that becomes very hard for people to just understand and digest, right? Like, you know what this function does, like a normal function. You know, I could call void, I don't know, add or something, right? But then like, if you were to go into someone's code base and they told you, hey dude, Firefox. You go into someone's code base and then you see like, I don't know, one of these. Can you give me one? Yeah, like look at this. Like imagine coming across this. And it's like, all right, like maybe if you have experience doing this stuff, you understand it and you can see what's going on in general, and it's not that crazy. But like for most people, that's kind of a new skill that they have to kind of like accrue, you know, and understand, hey, what are these lanes? What are 32-bit lanes? What is this register? Why are we doing bit masks, right? So like everything's a cost between these three factors. And as you become more senior, the more you're going to start building more intuition, having more wisdom about when to sacrifice human maintainability for computation, or sacrifice computation for human maintainability, or sacrifice memory for computation or whatnot, right? That's why like you start using and relying on profiling tools to understand the nature of how your application's running, and where the bottlenecks exist. You become a economist. What's wrong with that? It's perfect English. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember doing Hello World and coming across this and being like, yep, this makes perfect sense. Yes, thank you. Where's the single precision float ones? Yeah, compare, greater than. I mean, it's weird because like once you start dealing with this, it starts becoming readable, right? Like you actually understand what the abbreviations mean. But like when you're first like exposed to it, you're just like, what is going on here? What is a PS? What does EPI mean? Oh, dude. I'm just using Ubuntu. Do you use a compiler explorer? I have not actually. Have you ever worked for a company, or have you always done indie? I'm working for a company. I have a day job. This is just my hobby. Like, I mean, not my hobby. I do want to make something of this, but I do this for fun primarily. The joy of coding, the joy of making stuff, the joy of like bringing my visions to reality, bit by bit, line by line. What am I doing? Right. So we fixed that issue, and we were doing the buddy thing, correct? And now we need to make the Buddy UI. Right. And to do that, I want to go to Home, and I want to go to Folder, and we're going to make a new script here called View. Organizer app? No, I haven't. I mean, it's usable. I should be using it, honestly, but it's so much, it's weird, but it's just convenient just to have a text buffer that you write your to-dos on. I will get back to it eventually, especially since we have like so we built a terminal software rendered like thing. So I might try to push over the terminal app to that and do like the more complex, interesting color rendering and ray casting stuff, but I don't know, we'll see. We're gonna get back to that game project. I want to finish it up. I'm glad you remember though, Ricardo. It's gonna happen at some point. What company, if you can say? I'm not gonna say the company I work for, but it's software engineering. And let's create, I think that's all we need. So I need to organize. We'll make that look better later, but let's just do the buddy view stuff. Nope. Thank you, Goat Earl. I do remember you. Goat Earl. I remember you corrected my pronunciation too. But I forgot what it was corrected to. But I do remember you, Goat Earl. And what do we need? Buddy system. That's what we got. It's buddy system. Yeah, you've been around for a while, man. Buddy system. Yeah, I remember when I first started making my dev kit, I was super into the OOP mindset. Because everyone like starts off there, right? But, how are we going to do with this, actually? Yeah, we have a world button. We made our own button system. And I think we actually have to make this array. Get component and children. Should be components. I might change this though. I might make it a separate component for the buddies. Okay, cool. I'm gonna check up chat right now, 1 second. 1 second, I'm gonna check chat right now. What's going on here? Well, before I go, hope you have a great day. Thank you, stream, thank you, man. I hope you have a good night. It's CIA. What's going on, Christ is King? What's going on, dog? That is a funny no, wait, what? What's CIA? CIA? Clearly his fingers are AI. Yes, AI. What is a keyboard? It's a Ergodox Easy. There's a command here for that. 1 second. Keyboard helps, but you could be fine. You work for the CIA, yeah, that's why I can't tell you. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Yeah, I'm the guy who, I am the guy who increments the CIA's kill count. So my job is just to go at the computer, and they don't believe in databases, alright? So really, I just have an Excel sheet, and every time the CIA kills someone, I just go, boop, up, up, 12 today already. It's only been 30 minutes. Oh, 13. Nah, just kidding. I'm the guy who produces the cup coasters at the CIA. Yeah, I get some coffee. Actually, no, you don't. What is going on here? Okay, so we have this, and we're going to iterate through the children. I think we're going to make another object. I'd rather just have an object deal with this. Or maybe just get direct children. I don't know what I'm going to do. ECS memes, what's going on here? Oh, I told you about this, right? I started mentioning it in interviews. In all my interviews, I call it lizard brain architecture. It's impossible to explain to freshers. But even during crunch, if you just have to get something in, more experienced devs will tend to make things implemented in a more maintainable way, and it's just hard to explain what exactly that is. The image translators work for the constructed program. You get used to it. I don't even see the code. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead. What are you saying? If you get into compute shaders, having data-oriented design just lends itself to job systems. Oh yeah, it does, 100%. ECS memes. Yeah, no. It's very nice thinking data-oriented wise. Yeah, there's some conveniences to it too. There's just ways of dealing about it that you're not usually taught about, right? The fun thing, I love doing, it's a Matrix code, Cypher talking to Dio about the code. Wait, really? I need to watch the Matrix again. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't think people realize how sick enums are, and you can use them for a bunch of magic. Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna introduce something here, though. I'm not doing, I just said I love data-oriented design, but we're just gonna do simple thing here, but hey, dude, cost benefit, man, cost benefit, because actually I'm not sure how I'm going to handle this, and this is the most simple. This is already occupied. There's already a thing called Buddy UI, and you're going to be called Buddy UI as well. That's alright. I just need you to have reference to stuff, and I'm going to think about where you're going to live in the hierarchy. Public. What are we doing? I want you to have a bold button reference. Honestly, I don't think I actually need this. Because all I'm planning to do is actually just get a raw image element, this is probably going to contain. So for each one of these, this is going to contain the visual for the actual buddies. Just by the way, yeah, they're going to have different behavior based off of that. Perfect. And I want to have behavior tied to them. Issue here is that I can't just do a fixed array. I guess I can. I don't know. It has to be predicated based off of this, though. Come on. Alright. I'm probably going to just use a... It's probably going to be a mesh render, now that I think about it, because it's going to be a quad that we're rendering. But it's going to be tied to the world button visual, which is not, yeah. This all sucks, dude. When you finish, what will you do? I'm going to work on the next game. Excel's better than, according to Elon. Terrible. Yeah, when I finish this game, I don't know, we're just going to sell it. I might do a stream for launching it. That'd be fun. And, I just want to start diving into the next game. I have a bunch of assets made for that game already and ideas. But I need to think. I need to actually sit down and write things out. Yeah, each one's gonna have to handle their own self too. Maybe I actually would prefer just having the individual. Visuals. Count. Oh, you're hiding this. That's the issue. Okay. So we get the button visuals. Next, I want to do buttons be subscribe. We have a couple events we want to deal with. On hover enter and on hover exit. And then for each of these, is this reserved? I feel like this is a reserved word, but I guess not. Okay. We also have to set up initial state as well. That's required. What are we passing in? I guess just index, because we can grab all this stuff. As need be. Lambda expression. Why are you being mean? Also forgot to address this. So that's gonna be a problem, but that's an easy one to fix. Nice. What's your computer setup? Here it is. Here's my computer setup. Here's the OS command. Let's go in on here. CIA here, careful. You're a CIA snafu? Oh my goodness. A coworker. You're in the Matrix, Neo? No, I'd like to be, though. At least I like to approach that. It's nice coming across your stream, Cozy. You don't stay up too late. That's true, I do need to go to sleep. Have church in the morning, but at the same time, we're in here, dude. It's hurting. It's all good, dude. Hopefully it doesn't hurt, man. Hopefully not from this. I'm just making a game, Super Fusion. At least one course playlist for us, please. At least one. What is a one? Oh, play. What do you mean one course playlist for you? What do you mean specifically? This is a stream for pregnant women to vent about their partners or lack thereof. You know what? I wasn't targeting the audience, but you know what? We should do that. We should have the pregnant women going through troubles section of the audience. We'll have a segment for that. I have a phone right here, and someone call in, and I'll be like, Moshi Moshi, and they're gonna be like, I can't believe it. I'm like 8 months pregnant, my feet are swollen, and my husband, he ain't doing nothing. He's a bum. And I'll be like, oh my, for real? Oh my gosh, how could he? Girl, I feel for you. Girl, you are heard. And he is such a bum. Good course tutorial. Oh, okay, Crisis King. What would you want to, like, I guess we can talk about. I don't know, I have to think about what would be worth. I don't know, what would you guys want to know? Because I feel like I know nothing. But then, like, you know, maybe a certain topic comes up and like, oh, I do know something, and we can talk about that, like that memory thing, right? But like, in the idle state, I'm like, I don't, all this information is locked behind lockers somewhere, okay? I don't know who you're talking about. I'm not a programmer. Why would you think that? Why is this being weird? Oh, right. Because it's mutated, so we have to actually capture it. Right. That's always a concern when you're doing passing indices. It's weird. Is it implying that this is boxed and we're passing in like an int reference? Which is strange to me, but that's like what happens. And when I encountered this before, that seems to be the case. You sell games you create. Yeah, I'm gonna sell this game and future games, and I'm probably gonna include the source code for this as well. Maybe we could talk about shaders. I think that'd be cool. I think people are more scared of shaders than they realize, or scared of shaders and they really don't have to be. Okay, buddy system. Buddy system. What do you have here? Max upgrade. Yeah, we have this. We have a current buddy. We're gonna serialize that. Okay, cool. So we actually have all the things we want. What? Oh, that's the individual. Buddy view. There we go. Yeah, we're not gonna deal with that. So we have world button visuals. And we have to do stuff. I have to think about what we're gonna actually do. At least we're gonna change state. I think we're gonna make them actually be animated, which means I'm probably gonna have a sprite render, or CC sprite render. My own personal sprite rendering system, TM. That's kind of like Game Maker's, but also very different. But, you know. C'est la vie. And you're also going to be an array. Yay. I'm gonna change you to be sprites. Okay, we got these. Very nice. And then we're gonna do the same deal here. Except now. Perfect. So we're gonna have to have like some other, I don't know, I could make a state. No, we're probably gonna have, I think it's gonna be better to have like a, this. No, not that. Nope. Why are you being like this? UI button. There's buddy parent as well. You're gonna have to be public actually, now that I think about it. No, we're not doing formally serialized as. We're just doing buddy parent. Don't add. Next. Before you had that type of keyboard, how much learning curve would you say you need to get good at using it? The keyboard is actually very easy to use. It was very little work to actually get using this keyboard. Vim is the more tricky thing. Like the way I'm navigating is not because of my keyboard. Like this is all just Vim. I've done streams where I use like a battle station keyboard, which is like a normal keyboard layout, and I'm still able to navigate the same way. Yeah, the big thing is the Vim. That's the thing that makes you feel like a hacker. Yeah, the keyboard is just a plus. It feels extra cool. Roll button. Yeah, these are assets. They're going to have to happen. Cool. So unselected. In fact, we have to have another state here. Nope. We're gonna start off at 0, except we're gonna have to get your current index as well. So we're also gonna have to do a similar thing of like, I had to figure out how we're gonna handle this, but we're gonna just do something at some point. Okay, so we got that. And I was gonna do something here. So after we do all this, cool. And here's where we actually do the final choosing of the buddy. Cool. Okay, we're good here. We're good with this. I'm just watching as ASMR. It's all good soup. Is that an old TV CRT? Yes, it is. A real bona fide CRT. What's a game I'm making right now? I also have church, gotta go by, cause yeah, I'm going Christ is King. I'll catch you later, man. Yeah, I'm using Ubuntu, Kden. Yeah. Okay, so what do we got going on here? We have the skeletons for how things are gonna work. There's some things I need to do though, like what we got, sprite. Or I guess for simplicity I can just call it R. Get that. Gotta get button visual v. Let's see here, visuals. Okay. Now we can do stuff with that. We also have to get buddy as well from this. Which, now that I think about it, we haven't determined a way to actually associate the buddies we have there with the buddies that are in our registry. I could do the thing where we have an enum associated with it. I just have to make sure and be very careful that I lay out all the buddies in the scene in the same order as the enum. But that wouldn't be bad, honestly. I'm gonna be for real with you. It just means I also have to have, everything is gonna have to be aligned by that, which I don't like. But, you know, turn on off one more time. Here you go. There you go. There's your wish, Johnny. Is this Java? No, C#, dude. How do you come up with ideas for games? I just have them, dude. There's so many things I want to make. I have like notebooks and stuff filled with a bunch of ideas for games. I have like a board over there with a bunch of sketches I've made for the next game I want to work on. Let me show you like one part of it at least. Which one are we gonna grab? Yeah, this one's good. But yeah, like I have like a board with a bunch of level designs. This one's a character concept thing. The next thing I do, I think is gonna be more of an RPG. I don't know how well you can see it here. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I have a ton of stuff like this. I have the designs here for like the levels for this game. I don't know. So many different ideas, so many things I want to make, so many projects I want to revisit. It's like I feel like the question should be, how can you not have, like, how do you deal with that? Because it's like, it's very easy to want to pivot and work on these other ideas, but there's something really difficult about disciplining yourself and just cracking at something to completion. I'm really bad at that, and I'm trying to, I guess this project is like an endeavor to get better at that. We shall see. Buddy system. We have all of these, but we have no association or indexing of them. I might just do the enum thing and say screw it. We're just gonna be very orderly about how things exist. I mean, I still need to have a list of everything, but that's fine. Which means we have to do a there we go. For fireflies? I've never seen fireflies. Getting 80s vibes? Well, these things are from the 80s. This CRT and mouse and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think everyone gets ideas, you know? Now, whether or not we actually capture them, because like we naturally let ideas come in and then float off. You know, that's the thing that happens. And it's important to do that too. There's some things that don't require like holding on to, but I think there's a value in capturing the things that come to your mind. And everyone gets that. Like when you're playing a game or you're listening to music and it evokes something, or you see some art that just, how can you not, man? I think everyone engages with that at some level. Buddy view, buddy system, and now I can do the thing here of being like, hey dude, buddy system dot, I hid this, didn't I? I made this private. And you know what, we're gonna do like a, that sounds good to me. Buddies. Apparently fireflies are going extinct. That makes me really sad. I had a lot of memories as a kid. I had a neighbor, and me and her, like when we were kids, would like go into our backyards and just hunt fireflies all the time until it got really dark at night, and we'd have like jars full of it, and it was a core memory for me, man. Yeah, her name was Al. But yeah, that's sad. It makes me sad. My nieces are not gonna be able to see butterfly or fireflies if they keep going out, and I've been seeing less and less of them, dude. Quick, I plan to make a multiplayer game with that protocol. Oh yeah, I've heard of the Quick protocol. Yeah, I heard some good things about it, but I don't know much about it. I remember a coworker bringing it up. That's cool that you're utilizing that. I'd like to check that out. Honestly, if I do ever do an online game, it might be cool to try using that protocol as well and see how that works. RVB, and then we can do stuff. The simplest thing we can do is like, if we want to, we can define like for buddy, chip, float, string name. Yeah, we have these idle, flying, this is game. A hover sprite, and maybe a selected sprite. That sounds quite right. Let me catch up here. Is this him? I'm not sure if I am him, but I am a guy. What are you building? I'm making some code for some UI for a game. What's going on, anomalous alien? Say stop typing there. He knows I'm to him. What am I onto about what? His fingers are AR and the earth is flat. Yes, these are AI, dude. You could make a public GitHub. We could hold you accountable. Oh my goodness, Joe. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's the Git stuff in Discord, but there's green screen. I can prove it. Yep, it is green screen. Look at this. Green screen. Bros contributing to extinction. I didn't kill them, Joe. I didn't kill them. We enjoyed them and we let them out and stuff. I didn't kill them. What font theme is this? I think this is JetBrains Mono. I didn't really bother to customize this beyond just selecting Grovbox. I didn't make the butterflies go extinct, okay? I'm not part of the problem, I swear. I should probably just do like this preamble thing. Honestly, we're just gonna... I need to go to sleep soon, dude. I really do, but at the same time, this beast so... Like, we're in there. We've loaded all this into memory, and now it kind of sucks to not make the most out of it. Let this go back to a cache miss, you know, but... Or go back to main or whatever. Or disk, even. But it'd be like that, dude. I want to get up at a reasonable time tomorrow. What? V out var B. Simple. Honestly, I would just make macros. I wish C# had macros. I understand why they didn't do that. Because they're cowards. And they're scared of giving me power to do and concoct the most deranged things, but I'm just saying, man. Sometimes I just really want to have me some C-style macros or preprocessors. That's more specifically what it's doing. Home. We're doing selected sprite. This is a very asset intensive setup I have here, but I think I can manage that. I'm a pixel artist. I can do this. I love me. I was a pixel artist before I was a programmer. Let's go, dude. Does your eyes not hurt from that monitor? Nah, man. Nah, your eyes adapt. I've been in some strange dark web forums. Wait, what? And the lack of sleep is getting me. I'm sorry, dude. I do however stand by all previous flat earth assumptions. I'm just assuming you're just Josh and anomalous. I'm not taking anything serious. You're good. What version of C# and what .NET version are you using? I have no idea. I know it doesn't have all the fun native, like, recent stuff. I know that they have, like, records and span. I'm pretty sure C# didn't always have that. Or for Unity, C# didn't have that. Let's find out. Build settings. Nope, we're not using that one. I think it's project or player settings, maybe? I forget. There's like product settings, preferences. I think it's a player, actually, now that I think about it. Edit. Player. Project settings, preference. Is it in file? Build settings. Okay, we're just go to build. Nope. Stop. Build settings and player settings should be accessible there somewhere. If I can just player settings, and the information should be somewhere here. .NET Standard 2.1. I'm using the IL to CPP. That's what I was mentioning earlier. I can't use dynamic because we're using IL to CPP. That doesn't support dynamics. So you have to actually explicitly type stuff, which is good. You should just do that. Life is better if you do it that way. They may not go extinct, but their population is declining. They might be saved. Okay, guys, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to become a firefly farmer. I'm going to convert my backyard into a firefly sanctuary. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. Do I not have a function for trying to try equip buddy? Yeah. Right. Let's do this. Index is just going to be yeah, that's correct. Okay, cool. Honestly, it's kind of straightforward logic. I think the only other thing I'd need to do is add another button for upgrade. We're gonna do the same thing here. Increment upgrade. Do we not have like checks on this? We should probably do like a thing for this to do hook up to balance. And then over here we're just gonna do a simple thing of just do you know RB? My dear friend Abdu says that you're the reason he got into programming, and he's very grateful. God bless you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Actually, I'm gonna save that, dude. That actually means quite a lot, actually. Thank you for letting me know that. And RB, do you mean like Ruby? Is that what you mean? I don't know what RB is. Except for like Arby's, we have the meats. I know those. I know that guy. But yeah, I don't know RB. I'm assuming you mean Ruby. In that case, I don't know Ruby. What else is there? What other Rust, like, are R languages? There's Rust, but that's not the same thing. Also, what's going on? Jube, ZX, and Radiant Diligence. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I don't know Ruby, sadly. Or maybe fortunately, I don't know. The language looks gnarly. But maybe it's not as gnarly. Maybe there's a method to madness. Extension methods are sort of less powerful macros. They are. They're kind of, yeah. And even then, you can only use them in certain places. Like, you have to, under certain conditions, and it's just, it's just whack. Like, I wish they had like a unsafe, like they have unsafe, right? Like I could totally do pointer stuff and use the unsafe keyword. But I wish they had that for other things like macros, where it's like, hey, I'm a big boy, I'm making big boy decisions right now, this is gonna exist. I checked all the boxes, signed all the paperwork, I got insurance, life insurance, we're good. Let me do the thing. And they have some stuff, like, if I'm not mistaken, if you can define stuff. I don't know. Why are you not mad? Why are you unhappy? Define after the first token in the file. Oh, you have to do other tokens in the file. So you can do define A and do stuff with that. I think. Or maybe not. Or is it checking? I don't know. What are you writing? Yeah, code. It's UI stuff. Was that about Radiant Diligence? I don't know what Radiant Diligence is. Do you use AI? Not for this stuff, not for personal stuff. Unfortunately, it's kind of a thing where I kind of have to use it for work a bit more, but the line stops at work. On my personal stuff, we do no AI. Oh, great. I think this is implemented. These all should be implemented fine. This should work fine. The out stuff is convenient at least. Set initial state. We're gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna have to implement this. I think what we need to do, because this is looking for an index, right? So we have to actually do, not hulls, I'm so used to that, buddies. You have to do a manual iteration. Come on. Be smarter than that. Okay. Do essentially the same comparison we did before, which is if... In fact, I should just cache this. I don't know why I haven't done that already. Equals, or I guess we're going to be comparing against get current. We're going to current selected buddy, so we're comparing against this against the dot current. So they're equal. Why are we being weird? Oh, whoops. Now we're good. Otherwise return -1. It was going 0. C++++, yeah. The greatest language. Text supplies, it asks because it's my handle for a lot of my programming related things, is a moniker for my actual name. So when you said it, I kind of got shook because I'm not on the account right now. Oh, okay, gotcha, dude. I thought you said it was a relation. I thought you said it in relation to a language. Gotcha. No, it's something that came up. That's pretty wild though, dude. That's cool to know. Consider offering a coding class to those watching you and want to get into it. So here's what I thought of, right? And you guys let me know if this is actually something you'd want to do. I don't think I can give like a normal coding class. I think what I might do is actually have like maybe once a week or something, like I hop into Discord for like an hour or something, and I can kind of talk with you guys and see where you're at and what I can give some helpful advice about. And depending on where you're at, maybe I'll end up taking that hour talking about, like, I don't know, the basics of object-oriented programming, right? Or like what a compiler is, right? Or maybe you have a very specific project and you're dealing with a specific thing, and maybe I take a look at your code and we can walk through it and talk about what we might want to do with it, right? Or there might be some times where I'm just not knowledgeable enough, and I say, you know what? This is outside of my specialty, and I can just hit you up with resources I think would be good for that. But, yeah, if that's something that you guys might dig, maybe we'll do that. I'm not sure if I'd stream it, or if you wanted to just keep it on the Discord. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. But whatever sounds, I don't know. If you have thoughts about it, like it, dislike it, let me know. If I don't see too much interest, I might not even just do that, but if people do want that, then allow it to be known, and we'll just do that, dude. Because I think a class is like people are at different levels, right? And they have specific things they're dealing with. So a class may not be the best thing. I think maybe I'd do that if, like, as a reference, and you can watch it if you need to, but yeah, I don't know. Or maybe make shorts or something, but I don't know. If I'm going to spend time doing that kind of thing, I'd rather try to go for a bigger impact, and I think kind of dealing with it in that way would be the way. Sounds solid? Okay, cool, Ricardo. Then maybe I'll do that this week or something. I'll announce in the Discord if I do, or on here. How do you find the current software industry? I have had some friends graduate and tell me that they just spam AI crap and don't even look at it. That's unfortunate. And I think the people who are gonna stick it are gonna be the people who have like really solid, I don't know, wisdom from working with code, and you only get wisdom by actually coding stuff and not relying on generated stuff. As the state of the industry, I can't say. I haven't really been, like, I've been working in the same place for a hot minute, so I've been kind of insulated away from like the affairs of the industry. There's some things of like, you know, AI like creeping into everything that happen naturally, but I think in general, like, you need the people who are gonna benefit the most are gonna be the people who have solid understanding of like programming, and you only get solid understanding by actually programming it yourself. Okay, we have world buttons. I think everything here is implemented as much as, like, I think for the most part, and now it's gonna be a matter of getting assets. We have current buddy. We have to initialize stuff too. So we have to actually, once we have all this stuff done, we get this, and then we have to actually get the, what is it? We have to set their state, which is going to require doing this whole preamble. This is occupied already, so we just do PU. I'll do a better naming of that later. That sounds solid cool. Hey, what's going on, Nina? Hey, how's life? Life's going good. Past my bedtime. I need to go to sleep soon, actually, because I got church in the morning. But, you know, we get wrapped up with working with stuff, dude. It's kind of weird that you would even state that something would even be out of your specialties, considering you're such a well-rounded developer. Well, there's some things like web. I cannot speak very, like, I know the foundations of like programming, right? But like if someone's dealing with specific things of like web backend, right? Like, yeah, we can talk about REST APIs, we can talk about, you know, implementing stuff, but like, you know, we're dealing with like AWS or whatever, but like the pro cons of you know, rolling a monolith versus like microservices or whatever, or dealing with load balancers, like I haven't actually done that stuff, so I wouldn't be able to feel confident giving any kind of advice for that thing, right? Because I haven't done it myself. Or like if someone's dealing with like web frameworks like React, like, I'm sorry buddy, but you're kind of on your own, man. I can have a good foundations in programming, and I'd be way more comfortable implementing my own web framework than using an off-the-shelf one. But if someone's dealing with that, then like there's so much I can talk about, right, or give helpful guidance on. So there's things that are going to be like gaps in my knowledge, right? I might know some things, but I'm not going to have the same degree of confidence compared to things I've already implemented. Or even within GameDev, there's some stuff I'm kind of weak with, you know. I haven't done like dynamic skeletal animations, right? That's not a thing I've done. I can point to some GDC talks that talk about that kind of thing, and that will give you like, you know, helpful pointers as to how to tackle it, but I haven't done it myself, so I would consider that well outside of my expertise. You know, no programmer knows everything, right? And I think the more you grow, the more you realize how little you actually know. And that's the fun of it. That's why it's also important for me to like state, hey dude, I don't know everything. And I know might be some people who like view me as like some kind of authority, right? As far as like the knowledge of this stuff goes. I'm fallible too, man. There's things I get wrong. There's some things I don't know. So I think it's important to like be upfront about that kind of stuff, so that, you know, you start recognizing that, hey dude, everyone doesn't know something. So I'm not that bad. It's okay if I don't know certain things, because this dude doesn't know certain things either, and it's fine. What am I doing? Right. Select sprite. Okay, cool. Wouldn't using CRT even wouldn't use the CRT even if it cost my life though. I need the huge resolution because of my severe addiction. Multiple tabs open. Hey dude, you can have all the tabs you want. Look at my tabs. Look. These are all tabs, man. You could have all the tabs you want. They're just not gonna be like super easily visible. But hey, dude, it's the price one pays, right? No, I feel you, dude. When it comes to screen space, more is just more. This is just for the vibes. I like it, but I also recognize that there's a sacrifice. There's something I'm kind of losing for it, but hey, dude, I designed this to mitigate those costs as much as possible. That's why I'm doing this on Linux and with i3 and all that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise, dude. It would suck using Windows on this. Okay. I think we implemented the bulk of this. I think I just need to make assets and actually populate this, but we should be good, I believe. Which is cool. And I guess we're just going to commit this before we get into the weeds. So guys, remember those those git commands? You guys remember that from this short, right? Git add all. Git commit -m. Fixed. We're going to type a very technical, helpful, description. Fixed things. Git push berg. And git push berg return to 2D. Oh no way you're rolling in that CRT with naturally aspired V12 turbo engine with 4 liters of NOS under the hood. I'm so glad you noticed, but you're actually incorrect. This is actually not a V12. We're actually just using an inline 5, 2.1 liter engine using a turbo. Okay? All-wheel drive in this baby. That's all you need, man. Boys look for V8s, V12s. Men can appreciate an inline 5. If inline 6 would have been too much, but an inline 4 was just too little, so we got to have it inline 5. Alright, dude. I think we're calling for the night, dude. I think we did a lot for this short stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to stay on for a little bit. We're going to answer some questions if you guys have any questions for me before we call it a night. So let me catch up here. Thank you, Uzo. I appreciate that, man. But here's the thing, dude. You said that I inspire you? Well, the cool thing is that you could also reach where I'm at, dude. I'm not that far away. I'm closer than you might. Like, my skill level, it's not as crazy as you may think, dude. You can do it, man. So just pursue it. Work on projects. You could totally exceed me, man. I'm not a genius. There's things I suck at, dude. That some people are just, have a better natural propensity to understand this stuff. That's alright, dude. It's grind. Sleeper, yep, sleeper build. I mean, this is actually legitimately a sleeper, because it's an old peripheral, but if you look at B-top, it's not the most latest of specs, but still quite sizable, quite alright. His WM practically is tabs. Yeah, it is, dude. What are you doing up? You should be in bed. You have church. I do have. That's actually, I got a church tech. Exactly why we're ending stream soon. Because, I actually got to get up early for church to play. Speaking of git commands, can I help your help tomorrow afternoon? Yeah, if you want, we can yeah, we can go through, man. Let me know what your issues would get, and we can work through it. Maybe I'll pop in the server on VC and we can do like some help there. My git commits are literally did things. My team's worst nightmare. He's got RAM, boys, get him. No. No, dude, it's totally not. I just downloaded RAM, guys. This is not actual RAM. I just downloaded it from the website. You play an instrument? Yeah, I play a couple instruments, actually, Joe. Nah, just like you. I'm just rolling on a Toyota Helix with a rally race suspension. Nice. I loved it. I want to get a Toyota Hilux one day, dude. I would totally love a Toyota Hilux. It's a truck that won wars. Or at least a war. You're sick, dude. Use a RAM as a Bitcoin miner. Oh no. Tragic, dude. Emacs or Vim? I use Vim. I'm a Vim guy. We love Vim. I talk about it all the time. I'm a Vim head. I just like Vim motions, honestly. I heard you can like get Vim type motions in Emacs as well. But I know nothing about Emacs. 64 gig is crazy. Yeah. I kind of regret not going for the whole full 128. But, oh well. New weekend project, go for it, sec. Making a miner on RAM. I saw a video of a guy who tried to actually do the opposite. He was like, can I use a computer without any RAM and just use my main memory, my SSD, as like my RAM? That's crazy, dude. I don't know what Kakoune is either. Not a bright person, more like dyslexic, so that's the best way to push my boundaries. Yeah, that's how you do it, man. That's how you do it, man. And honestly, it's kind of weird because like you don't read, like you read code, but you also don't. You start like just getting the shape of it. Not the GitHub, but the other one. Yeah, just message me tomorrow. I'll probably hop in the VC and Discord, on the Discord server we have, and we can go through it there. Maybe other people would find it beneficial to go through the Vim stuff. And that CRT, I'm using like 640 by 480, I think. Or no, 800 by 600, I think. Let me go to my i3. Also, it's time for fall soon, guys. So we're going to be doing the fall theme. Summer is kind of already over, right? So I guess it's time for fall colors. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll christen this early. No, but I'm using, what am I using? Yeah, 800 by 600. That's my resolution right now. 800 by 600 for this display. What are you making? I was working on some UI for a game. I have a game that's in a process, and I'm just doing some UI logic for it before I create assets, and it's working. Everything on a drive, just see the gigabytes skyrocket. Oh, this is dumpster bytes, everything, yeah. But yeah, we're working on some UI. You can't see the thing we just coded because we have to hook it up in the game here, but we at least have this thing working. And I think hopefully I can press play and we can like actually collect stuff. We have to do the phone UI thing too. That's another thing. So right now it's pretty slow. Can I die? I think I have enough to purchase. I don't know. Probably. Could we purchase, please? No, I don't have enough. 640 is the first upgrade, or 4,000? Oh my goodness. I need to revise the code a little bit. Just set up stuff, dude. Has a same Vim actions, i.e. action target. Vim is action target, but Kakun is target action, like in Helix. Any opinions? No opinions. I don't know enough to have any opinions. Very cool setup. What model is that monitor? It's a Magnavox CRT. I have a command for this. Magnavox CRT. Just drop. Yeah, it's gonna drop. We're gonna have, dude. I should make brain rot content, but with my own game. So like for every short, like we're talking about Git or memory or cache lines or whatever, and we're just gonna have gameplay of this going in the background, just to keep people locked in. Alright, anyways, I gotta go to church in the morning, guys, so we'll start doing the outro. Anyways, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I appreciate your presence here. Hopefully you guys had a good time, got to relax, all that good stuff. And as always, God bless, and until next time, stay cozy. Bye-bye.